So here to weigh in on this escalating fight, former federal prosecutor and current president of West Coast Trial Lawyers, Neama Rahmani. Neama, thank you so much for your time today. First, is this lawsuit from Harvard University against the government a surprise?
It's not a surprise, Nichole. And I think Harvard has the upper hand here, not just because I went there, but they have a very strong First Amendment argument here. And the argument is that the Trump administration is retaliating against them and infringing upon their free speech rights. So under the First Amendment, you can't punish an individual or an institution like a university for exercising those rights or for their political beliefs. So as this case makes its way through the courts, first the trial court, then the circuit court, and ultimately, I believe, the Supreme Court, I do expect Harvard to win here.
All right. So Neama, this lawsuit names several administration officials as defendants, some of them a surprise, including Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., also the Education Secretary Linda McMahon, Attorney General Pam Bondi. What do you think is the strategy behind naming and essentially calling out these officials?
Well, these are individuals who are acting in their official capacity, and we're talking about billions of dollars in federal funding and grants that have been paused or rescinded outright. So this is the right practice. Obviously, you're going to sue individuals who are taking the actions and are infringing upon those free speech rights. And ultimately, of course, the Department of Justice will step in and defend those individuals just like they would defend the United States of America in any civil lawsuit. So the fact that we have individuals named is not surprising. It's a tactic to put pressure on them individually, as well as the U.S. government as a whole.
All right. So, Neama, right now this is Harvard University, but do you think we will see more universities follow suit and potentially file lawsuits against the federal government?
I do, Nichole. There's strength in numbers here. And Columbia University received a lot of criticism, both in traditional and social media, for bending the knee and capitulating and really surrendering their academic freedom. I think Harvard, of course, being the oldest and most prestigious university in the United States, I think that will motivate and empower others to move forward. And certainly there's strength in numbers here. And we know that Harvard isn't the only university that the Trump administration is targeting. They're going after many other large public and private universities. So the fact that Harvard was the first to file, I wouldn't be surprised if others follow the same footprint when pushing back on the administration.
All right, and Neama, you know, we constantly say unprecedented, but have we ever seen anything like this before in history where the autonomy of even private higher education institutions is potentially being challenged at this level?
Nichole, we have not, and you're right. I use that word every single day because every day there's some new legal challenge, and the Supreme Court really is going to have its hands full, not just with education and immigration and when it comes to separation of powers issue involving Congress and the executive branch. They're going to have to get involved, and they're going to have to sort all this out because, again, this is something that we've never, ever dealt with in the legal and political history of the United States. Of course, now the line between law and politics is blurred, but when you have a case like this that touches upon free speech, academic freedom, anti-Semitism, the rights of the pro-Palestinian protesters, I think the Supreme Court is going to have to get involved on this one.
All right. So, Neama, I want you to get your crystal ball here. What do you think happens next?
I think the Supreme Court will ultimately step in, either immediately through some extraordinary writ or appeal, or after the case gets appealed through the courts through the normal mandamus process. And when the Supreme Court does, this is my prediction, Nichole. I think Harvard certainly has the three liberal justices in its corner. I mean, Justice Kagan was the dean of Harvard Law School, one of my former professors. So I think they have those three votes. I think Justices Thomas and Alito have been supporting the Trump administration, really no matter what they're doing. So I think those are clear votes for the government. So then it's going to come down to the four other conservative justices. And I think Justice Gorsuch, who has been a big proponent of free speech rights, and Chief Justice Roberts, who has really been an institutionalist and really hasn't wanted to deviate from established constitutional norms. I think those are the two more likely justices to side with Harvard. Of course, they only need 5 of the 9 justices. I think they'll get there.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.